All right, here's our last lesson of the year. Congratulations, you made it through distance learning after this one. And so we are going to talk on this one about equations of a circle. And there are two equations that we're going to look at. The first one is just the very most basic when it goes through the center and it has a center of a circle at 0, 0. And so the equation would be x squared plus y squared equals the radius squared. And that is the equation for when a circle goes through the center, or the center of the circle is the origin, 0, 0. So in that case, the center of our circle is at 0, 0. Okay? And then of course it would have a radius. That's going to go right through there, but a radius of r. All right, so if we take a look at, I guess never mind, we're not going to take a look at that. We're going to go just to the other scenario where we have an equation, but the circle does not have a center at 0, 0. So the circle now has a center, just some random positive number hk. And so this equation is going to be x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. Has to be in parentheses like that, and it still equals r squared. So, I mean, really, this is the equation. I mean, this one is the equation. It's just that when it goes through the center, like you saw in the previous slide, when it goes through the center, it's like the h is 0 and the k is 0, so it's x minus 0 is just x. So really, the last slide, when you have just x squared plus y squared equals r squared, it's the same equation. It's just that we don't have any h or k value. So now we have a center of a circle at like hk, and of course the radius is still r. And those are just for a general case for any number, any kind of random h or k. Let's take a look at some real examples. So here's an example where, and I'm just going to use that second formula, that second equation. So x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. So let's take a look at what we have for values here. At our center, hk, our center is going to be 0, 0. So what that means is the h and the k is 0 and the k is 0. So really it's not going to matter. It's not going to do anything. The radius is going to be, now all these radius that we give are going to be kind of easier to figure out because you can just go straight up or straight down, not at an angle. And so the radius in this case is 5 units. So when I complete this equation and clean it up, I have x minus 0 squared, which x minus 0 squared, that's just x squared, plus y minus 0 squared, which that's just y squared, equal to, if the radius we found is 5, then when I square 5, I'm going to get 25. So x squared plus y squared equals 25 is the equation for that circle. Okay. This next one, the center moves. So now our center has moved to the point 2, 3. And our radius is a little bit smaller, it's 3. Okay, so our equation, remember, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. The h and the k are the values of the center. So in this case, I have an h value of 2 and a k value of 3. And so I put that 2 in there and that 3 in there, and I clean this up a bit. And so I will have x minus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals, the radius we determined was 3, so 3 squared is going to equal 9. That will give us and generate all the points on the circle. So if you take any single point that lies on this circle, and there's an infinite amount of them, that should satisfy this equation. Let's look at 2, 0. This one should work. So 2, 0. If I put 2 in for x, I'm going to get 2 minus 2 squared, plus I put 0 in for y, I get 0 minus 3 squared equals 9. Is that true? Well, 0 squared plus 3 squared is equal 9. Yeah, that's true. 9 equals 9. So you can see that that nice neat value, 2, 0, was a solution. And so every circle, every point on the circle, it's populating the equation. There's an infinite amount of points that are created that make up that circle. All right, but really all we're going to be asking you to do here is be able to write the equation and get an understanding of what it means. Here's another one. This one's a little bit trickier because it moves in a negative direction for x. So this has a center that's at -3, 0, and it has a radius of 2. So we have our equation. I'll just keep writing it. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. Substitute my h in this case is a little bit different because h is a -3. So see, I have a -3 for h. So when that happens, I really have x minus -3, which we all know minus a negative is plus. And then y minus 0 squared equals 2 squared. So when you have a negative value for h or k, it ends up turning into a plus in the equation. So one thing to note is that the values in the equation, like right here, this is a +3, are always opposite of the values that are in the center of the circle. So if it's -3 in the center, it's +3 in the equation. And if it's +3 in the center, it's -3 in the equation. So here's an example, note with no picture. Write an equation of a circle with the center 3, -5. So this will kind of drive home that point that I was talking about. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So if I have a -3, sorry, if I have a 3 in the center for x, it will end up just being a -3 in the equation like that. If I have a -5 in for y in this case, it's going to end up in the equation being a y plus 5. So it's opposite. And the radius was 4. So the 4 squared in this case is going to be equal to 16. So if it's opposite of what is in the actual ordered pair point. So if it's +3 in the ordered pair, it's -3 in the equation. If it's -5 in the ordered pair, it's +5 in the equation. All right, and then we just have a few of working backwards or working the other way. So here we want to graph a few, sketch a couple graphs. So now where is the center of this circle located? Well, it looks like on the x, if it's -1 in the equation, it's +1. And the other y doesn't have anything 0, so that's going to be the point 1, 0. And it's going to have a radius of square root of 25, which is an r value of 5, so radius of 5. So that one will have a radius of 5. This is going to be slick on Notability because it will just automatically draw my circle for me. Size it up. Oh, I thought it was going to be slick. So I'm going to make it a little bigger. Anyway, you get the point for Craig's sakes. Try that. I actually want to try it again. Huh. Oh, anyway. You get it. Hopefully. Oh, I know why, because it should go over to 6, Mr. B. That's the problem, dude. There. Should be a little bit bigger. There we go. Duh. From 1 to 6 is 5. There you go. All right, this next one has a center that's going to be at -2, +4. So -2, 4 is over here. Remember, they're opposites of what's in the equation. And then the radius is going to be 3. So Louis wants to get on the video. All right, so radius of 3. So now we got a radius of 3. So that's going to go over to there. It's going to go up to there, there. And then I'm just going to sketch in a circle here. Boom. So anyway, last lesson of the year. Thanks for all your efforts in distance learning. It was a bummer that we didn't get to hang out in class for the last week and have a little bit more fun. But hope you all have a great summer and a safe summer. And we look forward to seeing you hopefully in the fall. So sayonara.